I'm Kelsey Kushner in the Live Center. We are staying on top of the shooting in Minneapolis that happened during an immigration-related operation. So we have cell phone video that shows the 37-year-old victim in her car. The Minnesota Star-Tribune identifies her as Renee Nicole Good. So ICE agents approached the car and pulled on the driver's side door handle. The car then reverses and then drives forward. That's when an agent near the front of that car fires multiple times, and the car then crashes. You can see it right there. The DHS says this all happened during an immigration-related operation. They claim people were blocking agents during that operation. Agents ordered Good to get out of her car, but DHS says she refused. They then claimed she tried to run over an officer. Now, the mayor says cell phone video makes it clear it was the ICE agent's fault, but DHS says tonight at a press conference, agents were just protecting themselves. Now, we have a live look at Minneapolis tonight where hundreds of protesters are gathering with signs and speeches. They are protesting ICE's actions today.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave.
I'm a physician. I don't care.
So, you know what happened in Minneapolis just a few hours ago? 37-year-old woman was fatally wounded by an ICE agent. And I'm not here to talk to you about justified or unjustified use of force. We don't have enough information for that. But what I want you to look at is what I'm about to show you.
Can I go check a pulse?
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician!
I don't care. We understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give.
And I think we can all agree that there's a space where law enforcement is justified in using deadly force. But there's no justification for answering "I don't care" to a physician who's there to potentially administer first aid or to at least check whether there's a pulse. This was not a situation where scene security or officer security or evidence prevention required that type of behavior. This is a violation of the Fourth Amendment because there is deliberate indifference to the medical needs of this victim. It's a violation potentially of the Fifth Amendment because the agent is a federal agent. It's potentially a willful deprivation of constitutional rights under color of law, which is a violation of federal law. This is a situation where that officer could also be personally responsible because he lacks qualified immunity, because courts have stated time and time again that officers can't willy-nilly bar medical assistance to people who have been subject to police force. But beyond any legal conversation we can have, I want to focus on the human interaction. A person lies after police force has been used, and the officer not only says to the physician, "No, you can't come in," to check her pulse, but also says, "I don't care." I don't care. This is how a representative of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, a federal agency that says we're here to protect you, talked about a person that's helping another person survive. I don't know whether deadly force was justified, and I don't want to say that it was or it wasn't, but this behavior is reproachable to say the least.
She was scared. She wasn't trying to comply. I mean, she was trying to block traffic, and then they got aggressive, and she was scared, and she started to drive off. She was trying to comply with what they said to get out of here, and then they were saying, then they were trying to pull her out of the car, and that's when she got scared and tried to drive away. She got shot, and then immediately her foot went on the gas, she was probably, I think she was already dead, but her foot hit the gas. She drove off maybe 100 feet and then hit the telephone pole and hit some cars. And then she was just slumped in her vehicle. And they wouldn't let anybody near her. They had their guns out and were saying, "Stay back, stay back, stay back." And we have a neighbor who was, he's a physician, and he was yelling, "I'm a physician. Can I please administer CPR? Can I check her vitals? Check her vitals. Can I please get through?" And they were like, "No, absolutely." They said, "No, shut up. We don't care. We have our own medics on their way." And then it was like 15 minutes before the EMS truck got here, and the EMS couldn't get their vehicle through. So they arrived on foot. They couldn't get through because of the ICE vehicles, to be clear. So they came through on foot. It was maybe 5 EMS people, and they checked her out for maybe 5 minutes, and then they carried her body like a fucking sack of potatoes. They didn't even have a stretcher. They carried her out to the corner where they took.
Emotional? We're being attacked by our own people, by our own federal government, by masked men without ID that are taking people away for God knows why. They're not pedophiles, they're not rapists, they're not criminals. They're taking people from schools, they're taking high school kids.
Why is this so hard for you to talk about? It seems like this is a little tough.
Because I'm an American and I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of what's going on.
People should not be killed for protesting, for wanting not our people in our city to be taken. Like, this is not okay, and it's violent, and it shouldn't be violent. We should be peacefully protesting, but they're just taking us. I'm just angry. I'm angry, and I just want this to be over. This isn't the Minneapolis I know and love.
They don't want nobody to know that she's white. They don't want nobody to know that she's white. Renee Nicole Good, the 37-year-old woman that ICE agent blew her face off in broad daylight after she had just dropped off her 6-year-old child, her 6-year-old boy to school, is white, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that because it's going to fuck with their narrative. A ICE agent took his firearm, aimed it into the car of a white woman, and blew her face off. Blew her face off. But everywhere that you read, all the media that's reporting it, they keep saying 37-year-old woman, 37-year-old woman. They refuse to say her name. They refuse to show her picture because they don't want you to know that she's white. They don't want you to know that she's white. ICE murdered a white woman, blonde, blue-eyed white woman, shot her in the face 3 times. They don't want you to know that. And they are purposely not letting you know that it's a white woman whose face they blew off because they don't want you to switch sides. They do not want you to switch sides. They don't want you to work collectively with the oppressed after realizing you too are being oppressed. They don't want you to switch sides. That's why they're not letting you know that it was a white woman. It's a white woman. A white woman. I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over and over and over. It's a white woman, blonde hair, blue eyes. They blew her face off. And the government is currently trying to justify it. The government is currently trying to justify it. They're lying to your face because we all seen the videos. This man is walking around free after taking his firearm and aiming it into the car of a civilian, unarmed civilian, and blew her face off. And it's one of your very own. She had also lost her husband. So now her children are parentless. Where is all the pro-life extreme right? Where are you guys? Where are you? Huh? Now that you know it was a white woman that they murdered, not a criminal, not a migrant, not a black person, a white American woman got her face blown off with the help of your tax-paying dollars.
Is absolutely critical we understand what happened in Minneapolis today and how it connects to what Trump is trying to do. First, I watched every video multiple times, and it is abundantly clear the victim of today's ICE shooting, 37-year-old woman and U.S. citizen, clearly backed up, turned her wheels, and tried to pull forward to get away when the ICE agent shot her through the windshield and killed her on the spot. The New York Times also published a photo of the vehicle, and there's a single hole in the windshield directly in front of the driver. There is no lying about what happened here. And yet, Kristi Noem has the nerve to call it an act of domestic terrorism, despite the fact that this woman was not a target of immigration enforcement, but instead who worst case scenario was trying to impede enforcement, which yes could have potentially been a crime, but she was trying to turn and get away. Regardless of whether her actions were a crime, so was shooting a fleeing suspect, unless there's reason to believe the person fleeing poses an imminent physical threat, which to me explains this series of events perfectly. Because first they told her to get out of the vehicle. When she refused and tried to get away, it was the officer standing directly in front of the vehicle who chose to first open fire and then step out of the way, instead of simply moving. And after he stepped out of the way, he stood there clearly uninjured and unfazed as he watched the vehicle he just fired into point blank accelerate and careen into a tree. With plain video evidence of the entire exchange, there will be justice here. Jacob Frey, the recently re-elected mayor of Minneapolis, told ICE to get the fuck out of his city. And Governor Walz called the DHS explanation of events bullshit propaganda. And this is where the Trump angle comes in, because Governor Walz also brilliantly began the process of activating the National Guard, specifically to keep it out of Trump's hands. Because it was widely reported after the George Floyd protests, Trump regretted not invoking the Insurrection Act. So with Governor Walz taking steps to activate the National Guard, he's both guaranteeing he's going to keep the people of Minneapolis safe, while at the exact same time ensuring we don't lose the thread. And right now, this is the thread. This is a battle Trump is losing badly. It's the whole reason he gave up the fight with blue states and chose to pivot to overseas intervention. He's already posted twice about Venezuela since this tragedy today. He knows that Americans hate this shit. We hate how he treats immigrants, and we hate his vile mass deportations. And today, our hatred is validated. But we also have to remember that hate and violence accomplish nothing on their own. So I'm asking you to take this rage, take this open wound that they inflicted on the country today, and instead of trying to heal it or distract from it by adding tragedy to tragedy, protest loudly, peacefully, and legally, and allow the open wound to sit in the lap of his presidency and fester. So that when our time comes, and it will come, we have the chance to defund ICE, to shut down his agenda, and to build a better future where this shit isn't happening every goddamn day. We are the ones in power, not him.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
I heard ICE killed an American citizen today.
Yes, they did. Renee Nicole Good, a mother of one, was murdered by ICE officers in Minneapolis today as she tried to disengage from them, assaulting her car and leave the scene.
What happened exactly?
Well, Minneapolis, where the murder occurred, has seen a huge spike in ICE presence recently as part of the Trump administration's continued campaign of terror against blue cities, and Minneapolis in particular. Protesters and observers were following one convoy today when it came across an SUV driven by Good, blocking part of the road. I've seen some claims by MAGA online that she was trying to block traffic, but in the multiple videos of the incident that I've seen, it's pretty obvious that there is a disabled car behind her, cars passing in front of her, and that she's basically waving cars through while she waits to turn around and leave. Despite this, ICE officers get out of one of their unmarked trucks, approach her, scream at her to get out of her car, and try to pull her out of her vehicle. At this point, another ICE officer, already on the road beside her car, steps in front of the vehicle and, before she starts moving, pulls a gun on her through the windshield. Renee, who is presumably and justifiably terrified at this point, turns to the right, notably away from any ICE officers, and starts accelerating to leave. The ICE officer fires several shots at her point blank and kills her. All of this occurs over the course of a few seconds. She was in the car with her partner, and photos of the crime scene show her car crashed into another further down the road, the driver's side covered in blood, with a teddy bear hanging out of the glove compartment.
The Trump administration is claiming that it was self-defense and that she was using the car as a deadly weapon.
The same line that they use anytime a law enforcement officer murders someone in cold blood? Absolutely not. There's already a court case, Kirby versus Duva from 2008, that sets the precedent that an officer cannot use self-defense as a justification for lethal force when he unreasonably places himself in harm's way, nor is it legal to shoot at a fleeing vehicle for the sole purpose of stopping it because of the danger it poses to other civilians on the road. Good wasn't doing anything illegal besides dubiously blocking traffic before she was shot. ICE doesn't have the authority to make traffic stops anyways, and the officer who shot her moved in front of her vehicle and drew a gun, intentionally putting himself in harm's way and escalating to deadly force before she ever moved. Even when she did move, it was to move away from him and his gun. This was not self-defense, this was murder by a thug with a power fantasy who saw an opportunity to kill someone and took it knowing that the fascists in charge of our government would protect him. And they are.
What's going to happen now?
Well, protests I expect, and some response from Democratic reps, mostly strongly worded statements. Robin Kelly, a rep from Illinois, is at least filing articles of impeachment against Kristi Noem as a result of her handling of ICE and the murder today. But we need more. For all that Renee Good's death is tragic, it is but a drop in the bucket compared to all of the American deaths that will occur over the next years due to the dismantling of our government by the Trump administration. We are looking at over 50,000 dead alone each year just due to the cuts to healthcare funding, not to mention the cuts to vaccines, medical research, social welfare programs, food stamps, and more. Those deaths and Renee's are American blood directly on the hands of the Trump administration, the Supreme Court who has empowered them, and every member of Congress that isn't doing everything they can to stop this fascism before it's too late.
We're barely a week into the new year, and we're still having to start off the year with a whole bunch of BS and tragedy. Now, Happy New Year, you guys. I know I've been gone for a little bit. I've just been busy with work and just doing other things. I'm so sorry for taking so long with making a video on this topic because I definitely was not letting this story pass me by. Like, the fact that they're doing this in front of people just means that they are going to just start not caring what they do. And the fact that this administration is backing this up, I feel that that's giving all of the ICE agents that are in other states the okay to do whatever they have to do, no matter who it is going to be affecting. Because the fact that they did this and the woman was trying to drive off, first of all, number one, why is the guy even in front of the car to begin with? It's like, if she had nothing to do with it, then why are you here? You're not law enforcement. You're not police. You're here just to settle immigration issues. So why do you feel like you had to be in front of the car anyway? And the fact that she got shot 3 times in the face, oh my goodness. And I feel like I saw something that said that there was somebody with her. I would just be so traumatized. And rest in peace to Renee Good. I just want to put that out there first and foremost. It's just so gut-wrenching, the fact that a child is not going to have either of their parents anymore, because I think that she had a military husband and he passed away, and now I think she had a son. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, you guys. There's just so many details about this story that's going to have to go without both parents, which is just so scary to think about. It's one more child without parents that's, going to have to grow up in the world. But yeah, you guys, just be careful. If I could say anything, just please be careful out there, you all. Like, things are going to increase this year. I have the feeling this is setting the tone off for the rest of the year. We started off 2025 with the events with that terrorist attack in New Orleans on Bourbon Street. Now we're starting it off with ICE acting a fool out here, just shooting aimlessly. I get it that might be your gut reaction is to shoot, but like, why did you have your gun out to begin with? This was a woman. Like, if you felt that threatened, you could have gotten out of the way. You saw that she was moving and backing out. It's like, it's not like she was doing anything at full speed. She was trying to, just from what I've been hearing and seeing, it looks like she was just trying to obey orders and get out of the way. Of course, I've been hearing so many different things as to what happened. It's, I don't know what's really true and what was the order of events, but just from what I was able to see, that was just totally an abuse of force, and it was just uncalled for that this even happened. But like I said, you guys, just if you have ever seen ICE officers out there where you live or know someone who has, or even just the police, just please be careful, because police aren't exempt from this either. Because a lot of them might feel like they're untouchable and they feel like they could just be doing anything out here. Now, I know in my good news video, I was praising the police, and that does not obviously apply to all police officers. It doesn't. But there's the ones out there that feel like they're untouchable and they have so much power over us regular citizens and feel like they could do anything. So just please be careful. Don't let anything escalate. Don't get into any altercations with anybody. Really just go to work, do what you have to do. Of course, go out and have fun, but if you have to come into contact or see ICE or any type of police, just stay away and just mind your business. Of course, unless something has already escalated with other people, just take your camera phone out and record, because the most powerful tool we have as regular people nowadays are our phones when things are going like crazy like this and things are getting out of hand. But I just plead to you guys just to please just be careful, because things like this happen so fast and you don't want to lose your life over it. It's not worth it. I get sometimes we get heated and we get into arguments. I know I'm going off topic. I'm sorry, but it matters to me, because when things happen like this, sometimes they kind of have a domino effect and you start to hear of things around the country. Now, is this the first instance? No, I'm sure there's been instances of people being shot or injured or some crazy stuff happening with ICE. We've seen it, and there's stories that go unheard of. But the fact that this was done and this was a U.S. citizen, and I agree with Mercurio, who is the young lady creator whose video I included today. I agree. I feel that the media is trying not to want to put that information out there that she's white, so that white people don't start to become fearful of their lives, because once that starts to happen, they'll actually have to be careful with what they're doing, even though they're doing things like this to U.S. citizens who may not be white, but they are U.S. citizens. So I do believe that is one aspect of it. And the fact that there was a doctor on scene and they did not let him administer any assistance or help, try to see what he could do. They pushed him away. I just feel like that all of those officers, or who at least whoever said that or told him to stay back, should be held responsible too, because I get it, they want people who like EMS to take care of everything, because you never know. But if the guy was a doctor, you should have let him try to see what he could do. I mean, in the face, I'm pretty sure there was nothing, but since he was shot in the face, but I mean, at least let him get nearby, maybe not move her, but at least look at her. So it's just going to be a lot of screwed up things like this happening. What is going on with Januaries of every year? You had January 6th of 2021, was it? 22 was good, 23, and it just seems like every January something crazy is happening. And MAGA, what do y'all have to say about this? Of course, the ones I've been seeing have been saying, oh, it looks like she was about to run him over. She shouldn't have even moved her car, but they're defending it. And it's just absolutely crazy that y'all are defending this still. And that's why JD Vance and Trump and all of them are wanting to say, oh, this was domestic terrorism. They want to blow this up to make this sound like it was such a dangerous situation, like she could have harmed everybody on the scene. This was a 37-year-old mom who was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, but was a domestic terrorist. But y'all don't call anything that happened on January 6th like domestic terrorism and trying to overthrow the government. But that was okay. Y'all want to defend that like that was just a protest. And that's why I'm saying you guys to be careful, because if the president and his people are putting it out there like it's something major and it's no big deal that she got shot, if someone else tries to do this and they get federal charges, they are going to get pardoned, just like all of those people from January 6th and other instances that have happened which did not deserve pardons. So like I said, tell your loved ones tell your children if they're adults, just even if they're young children anyway, if they see any type of law enforcement or ICE, stay away and walk away, or at least stay far enough away to where like you're not like directly on the scene, because you just never know what can escalate out of it. We have to stay safe and be smart. We could witness things from afar. That's okay, especially like I said, if things are happening that don't really seem right. But the quiet part has now been shouted out loud, that anything goes when it's going to come to these officers. If they have to use lethal force, they'll be backed by the President of the United States as an okay to proceed on shooting somebody, whether they're a citizen, an immigrant, someone with a green card, what have you. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I could talk in circles as I normally do about this, but rest in peace to Renee. She definitely deserves to be here right now. She should have been able to wake up today and, you know, hug her son, but she doesn't get to do that, and it's really sad. And think about the other people out there who won't get to hug their children or their loved ones that have been wrongfully detained or should really be here with their families. But no, we have people in the government and people amongst us in our society that don't want you to do that simply because you exist, and not that you did anything wrong or criminal. And I think we need to like examine that more. Like, people truly just don't want you here because of the color of your skin and simply because you exist. And I don't think that it's right. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, of course, you know I appreciate it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, definitely let me know what you think about this topic down below. Such a sad, sad story. I know. I don't think that this is going to be the last, but hopefully for now it will be. But of course, thank you guys for watching once again, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye. See you later.